The 3rd of June, Rabbi Furst, Pierke, Avos.
On and on.
Okay, good. Thank you, Lou. As Lou mentioned, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshivat Samanapsi, Yerushalayim, care of Zoom. This is our first share this morning, learning Pirkei Avos, taking a slight digression, learning Mesilas Yesharim, the end of the 21st chapter, the very end of the 21st chapter, see this if I'm not mistaken, last two paragraphs. Again, this is an answer. This is basically an answer in terms of the question that was asked in general. With some of the things we've been discussing recently, that everybody is faced with this question. The Gemara deals with this question. The Rishonim deal with this question. Achroni deals with this question. How much is a person supposed to do in terms of his needs in Olam Hazeh, and in comparison to his desires to achieve Olam Haba? After all, we know the whole purpose that we're in this world is to achieve Olam Haba. Right? We say every Shabbos me'ein Olam Haba. We have a weekday activity, and we have Shabbos, and Shabbos is me'ein Olam Haba. And Olam Haba is what we're in this world to achieve. And so if we spend too much time, too much effort in achieving the satisfactions of and the pleasures of Olam Hazeh, we're going to be shortchanged in the next world. The next world is going to be shortchanged, and no one wants to be caught shortchanged in the next world. If you need a quarter for a bus and you only have 20 cents, you're in bad shape, right, Roy?
Well, I've got a card.
That means you need a parking space.
No, a card.
Oh, a car. You have a card. I think you said a car.
No.
Okay.
15 years, 16 years.
Fine. Okay, so let's see what Mr. Rosh Hashanah has to say about the subject. He'll lead away. Right. Let's see. Amnon. That's those last two paragraphs in our document you have on your screen. If you have the Sefer in front of you, even better. But anyone that's going to do a service for the public and do some reading for us here, who would like to volunteer?
So we're in Mesilas Yesharim.
So Shine, the last two paragraphs, the paragraph beginning with the words
I see it. Okay, I'll read if no one else wants to.
Right.
Okay,
Go
Amna
ahead.
Ma She'uchal Lishmor Es Ha'adam Ulahatzilo Min Ha-Mafsidim Ha'ela. So Amna means however. Yeah, however.
Correct.
What is one able to guard,
Like to protect, yeah, guard to protect.
to protect a man? What is a man able to protect? And to
Meaning, what is a person able to do to protect and to save himself?
Yeah. Sorry about that. What can a man do to be able to protect from detriments, from these detriments? Who bitachon? He can have trust in Hashem.
Right. That is what is going to save. Having trust in Hashem is going to save him from all those things which will detract from him having to spend extra and excess time and effort on the things which are necessary for Olam Hazeh. Bitachon is the key which will save a person and protect a person from falling into the traps of doing too much effort to sustain himself in this physical life.
V'hu sheyashlich v'chavo al Hashem legamre. And he can send his going upon Hashem completely. He can send his going.
This, if I'm not mistaken, this might be worthwhile. This, if I'm not mistaken, is a pasuk. That I'll try and direct you to the pasuk. 1 minute. Okay. Good. 1 second. Let's just verify this. Maybe not. Maybe it's not a pasuk. Might be wrong. So, I think it may be a Gemara. I know it's a Gemara in Brachas, but 1 second. It's not a pasuk. This is not a pasuk. Okay, it's a phrase in the Gemara. Phrase in the Gemara. And what it's really doing is it's a phrase which is showing us the way to have the Bitachon Hashem is to completely throw all your cares onto Hashem.
Be'asher yeda ki vadai im. I'm sorry. Efshar sheyechsar la'adam ma sheniktav lo. With that he knows that certainly it's impossible to diminish for a man that which what's shanik tzav?
That what has been allotted. It's impossible. It's impossible that a person's going to be lacking from what has been allotted to him. Meaning, the token is as follows. We have to believe 100% that HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares for us absolutely from the very beginning of our life to the very end of our life. Every breath that we take, every drink that we drink, every swallow that we swallow, every step that we step, every word that we say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has been geyser on each and everything, what and how it will be. And therefore, everything that we are supposed to have has already been decided and decreed and allotted to us. It's doled out, it's decreed from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, but it's all decreed from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, the betachan in that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has in fact decreed upon us what we are going to have and what we are not going to have is our betachan in Hashem in the absolute complete way. And corresponding to that is that whatever we're supposed to have, we will have, and whatever we're not supposed to have, we will not have, and that we can't detract or add from that in any way, shape, or form. Just an illustration of this point, the Chafetz Chaim in his Svarim brings various muscles about. He's trying to help and convince those people who are Mechalel Shabbos because they have businesses and they feel if they don't stay open on Shabbos, they're going to lose business. The competitors will do better than them because they open on Saturdays and they have to be closed on Saturdays and they won't be able to make ends meet. And therefore, they are unfortunately terribly being Mechalel Shabbos week after week, month after month, year after year. So the Chafetz Chaim tries to save them and brings a muscle. Because this is the basis. The basis is that what we're allotted is given to us from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's decreed beforehand, and we can't do anything to change it. So if a person has a barrel of wine, so as a spigot, so he goes to the barrel of wine, opens the spigot, pours himself a nice glass of wine. Wonderful, tremendous. Some smart aleck fellow comes up to him one day and says, you know what? You're being very foolish. Why do you only have one spigot on the barrel of wine? If you had another spigot on the barrel of wine, you'd be able to drink twice as much wine. 2 spigots, 2 cups, 2 drinks, and you drink more wine. So fellow believes this fool, puts another spigot in the bottle of wine, and now he's got 2 spigots, he's got 2 cups, and he drinks 2 cups of wine. Doesn't realize he's going to run out of wine twice as fast. What's in the barrel's in the barrel. Doesn't matter how many spigots you have on the barrel. Same thing with Shabbos. Person thinks he's going to open up another day on Shabbos. It's like opening another spigot on the barrel of wine. What's in the barrel's in the barrel. What's his parnasa is going to be his parnasa. No reason and need to work on Shabbos whatsoever. So that's how the Chafetz Chaim tries to help and save those people who feel that they must inevitably be Mechalel Shabbos in order to make their parnasa. So that's what we're saying over here. The betachan is that we have to believe innately, that what is decreed for us is decreed from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Hashem will, in fact, make sure that what we get is ours, and what we don't get will not be ours. And if you believe that, and you train yourself to think that way, you have no reason to work on Shabbos, and you have no reason to worry about your competition, right? Well, you have to, what is our job? Our job is to do honest business, to keep the business according to the halacha, right? And if we do that, that is the guarantee that we're going to get what Hashem decides that we're supposed to get. Okay, let's continue on.
וכמו שאמרו ז"ל במאמריהם, and it's like that which is said by Chazal, with the faithful.
That b'marehem, in their statements. Ukamosha Amr Chazal b'marehem, in their statements in the Gemara in Beitza.
In their statements, okay. This is the statements of Chazal.
Right, which is the Gemara, what turns out to be the Gemara in, I mean, he's going to quote some more as well. But starting with the Gemara in Beitza, in Be'ah.
Kol ze mizono sav shel adam kitzuvim lo me rosh hashana kule. All of the wealth that a person, what is kitzuvim?
Or again, like katsubim, or fixed or allotted for a person.
That's allotted to him on Rosh Hashanah. V'chein amru in Yoma, and similarly it says in Yoma, Ein Adam nogea bamuchan lachavero afilu kim lo nima. A man does not what is noheg b'muchan?
It says, "Ein adam nagab b'muchan lechavero afilu kalamina." A person cannot touch what is muchan, which is prepared lechavero for his friend afilu kalamina, afilu even a hair's breadth. A person cannot touch, access anything which has been prepared for his friend, even the slightest amount of a hair's breadth.
Ukavar haya ha'adam yachol lios yoshev uvatel v'ha gezerah haisa mis kayemes. And already a man is able to be sitting and nullifying.
Yeah, like here, you're right. Batal means like nullify. Here, Yosef, to sit batal and be inactive. Here it means like to be inactive. He should just really, really theoretically, it would be possible for a person to sit and be inactive.
And the decree will be effective.
And the decree. Let's skip the parentheses for a minute. Gezerah haisim is kayamis, and the gezerah, the decree would be fulfilled. Meaning, a person on Rosh Hashanah, Kadosh Baruch Hu would decree for this person to have a income of $123,000. Okay. So that was the Kadosh Baruch Hu goes that this person set up an income that year of $123,000. So based on that decree, theoretically, a person should be able to sit and not do anything whatsoever, and the decree would be fulfilled. However,
pardon?
Yeah, go. However, there's a catch. That's how it was theoretically. That's how it was before Adam Rishon did the sin. That's before the Chet Ego. That's before a lot of other things that happened, right? That's what it would have been theoretically. That's what Hashem wanted, right?
Im lo she kadam hakinas l'chol b'nei adam. If not, what is shekadam?
If it would not be shekoidim, right? If im lo shekoidim kanas l'kol adam, if it wouldn't be that there would be a pre-existing shekoidim hakanas, if there would not be a pre-existing penalty, the call on there's a pre-existing penalty for each and every person who is alive.
B'zeas apecha tochal lechem. With the sweat of a brow, a person earns his bread.
That's right. That's the gezerah. Kadosh Baruch Hu, as part of the repercussions, the consequences of Adam Rishon eating from the Eitz Hadas, one of the consequences was the gezerah. By the sweat of your brow, you shall eat bread. Everybody knows this, right? All the good Bible students know this, right, Roy?
Yes, I don't know that because I'm not a good Bible student, but yes.
Yeah.
Asher al Cain chayav adam lehish tadel eze hishtadlus litzorech par nasaso. That therefore there's an obligation on a person the hishtadel, what is that?
To make for hishtadlus is efforts, to put forth efforts.
To put forth efforts and these efforts are required require pranasa.
So therefore, because of this gezerah, this kanas, this penalty which is made upon humanity, because of the chet of Adam Rishon, by the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread. Because of that kanas, that penalty, therefore persons are obligated to put forth efforts and make endeavors to support himself in his livelihood. But really, a person could theoretically simply just sit back. Let me ask you a question. I mean, look, we don't know. You've heard about angels, right? You've heard about angels, but we don't know too much about angels. Right? There are a few things we do know about them, but angels don't have to work for their panasa, do they?
Not that I know of.
They don't
Right?
need to have a panosa. They don't. I don't think angels are in line for a panosa. So they've got a job to do, and that's it. They're not like us.
Oh, so we before the Chet of Adam Rishon, we were supposed to be on that level as well. We were supposed to be Adam Rishon was supposed to be Shamar la'avdo, watch over the gan, take care of the gan, and you do your job, and you're going to be taken care of, right? The Malachim, they have their jobs, they do their jobs, they get taken care of, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they
The
don't.
king has an army,
But the Malachim,
right? So king has an army. So the soldiers of the army, the king has to feed the army. He doesn't say, well, you have to fight the war and also feed yourself. That's going to be pretty hard work to do. Fight a war and feed yourself. That's a little bit tricky.
they say an army moves on its stomach.
Yeah, that's referring to dysentery.
That's not fair. That is not nice. All right.
Ask, ask Napoleon. He had dysentery that day on Waterloo. That's why he lost.
Ay, ay, ay. They call it logistics, Rabbi.
No, and what you should know in part of the officers' training, they have to take a section of officers' training. They have to know about sanitation. They have to know about sanitation. If they don't know about sanitation, they're gonna do themselves in.
Right, but in that case, the stain wouldn't be on their stomach, it'd be another part of their body.
No, it's both. It's all connected.
Shekain Gazar Hamelech Ha Elyon. And this is the decree of the king on high. V'harei ze kamas ha porea kol hamin ha enoshi asher ein lehimalate mi menu. And we see this. What is kamas?
Kimas is mas is a tax. So this is like a tax. The fact that a person has to work for his livelihood. Now, after the Chet Rishon, after Kadosh Baruch Hu was decreed upon humanity, that because of the Chet Rishon, they have to work, everyone has to work to support themselves. It's now like a tax. It's a tax.
Shaporea. What is shaporea?
That needs to be paid. That needs to be paid. Kol hamin anushi, by all humans. Min is the species. Anushi, the human species, it has to be paid by all those who belong to the human species.
That are not. What is himalate?
To escape, and there's no escape from it. There's no escaping this.
Al Kain Amru. Therefore, they say in Sifrei, Yachol Afilu Yoshev Uvatel. Yachol is he is able even to sit and do nothing. Question mark. Is he able to sit and do nothing? Talmud Lomar. The Torah therefore teaches us in Devarim, B'chol mish lach yadcha asher ta'aseh ta'aseh with all that is sent to a man that he does. What does that mean?
It says here, Al Kain Amru. I'm leaving the parentheses for the time being. Al Kain Amru. Therefore, it says in the Sifri, Yochol, you might think a person may think he could sit and do nothing, right? Talmud Lomer, right? The pasuk says, "B'kol mishlach yedecha asher taseh," that all that you put forth your hands, you shall do. Meaning, you must put forth your hands. Meaning, theoretically speaking, a person let's say he he has a bowl of chicken soup with matzo balls in it. Right? Rolling has a nice piping hot bowl of chicken soup with matzo balls in it. Right? He's got his sitting at his table, he's got a spoon there on the side. And theoretically speaking, he could really simply just wait for the matzo balls and the soup to miraculously come and enter his mouth. Right? But it can't be that way. You got to pick up the spoon, got to put up some soup and the matzo ball in the spoon, and you got to pick it up into your mouth, or you have to open your mouth and you have to put it in and start chewing and swallowing. You have to do a lot of stuff there. Right? But really, theoretically speaking, it's not, it's all unnecessary.
Right.
Because Hashem, one of the reasons is because we're no longer fit and on the level that we should have such miracles done for us, right? But before the Arishon sinned with the chet of the Eitz Hadas, we were to a certain extent fit that such miracles could happen for us. But now, our days, since the time of the sin of Adam Arishon, eating the Eitz Hadas, we lost that nobility, that level of uniqueness in the universe that Hashem will do open miracles for each and every person. So therefore, we've got to pick up the spoon, put the matzo ball in it with the soup, put it into our mouth, and all that stuff. Right?
Right. Let's see.
We're in the third line. Ach lo, ach lo.
Ach lo she ha hish taldus hish tadlus hu ha mo'il. Even though he does not put forth effort, what is mo'il?
Mo'il is that it's effective. Ach lo hashtalas hu hamoil. It's not that the hishtadlus, it's not that the efforts are effective, right? It's not, you're not doing this is where a lot of people go wrong, right? We've just proved that you must do hishtadlus. Every human being must, to some extent or other, must do some hishtadlus, must put forth some efforts to support himself, right? But it's not that the hishtadlus is effective. The hishtadlus is not there that it's supposed to be effective.
So even though the hishtadlus is not effective,
Right? The hishtadlus is not effective. The hishtadlus is not there because of what is not. Let me put it this way: the hishtadlus is not being done because of the cause and effect of the hishtadlus. There is no cause and effect to hishtadlus.
right? Ella shehahishtadlus muchrach. Rather, the hishtadlus is muchrach. What's muchrach?
Muchrach is necessary. The hishtadlus is necessary. The efforts are necessary. You must do the hishtadlus, but it's not that it's not that the efforts are effective.
Okay. The hevan shehishtadel, and since that he does the efforts, hare yatsa yedei chovaso. We see that he takes out in his hand chovaso is his obligation.
Right. But And since once a person has done his hishtadlus, once a person has done put forth his efforts, he is now fulfilled his obligation.
He's now what?
He has fulfilled his obligation.
Fulfilled his obligation, okay. Ukavar yesh makom livar kas. The birkas ha-shamayim, I'm sorry, shamayim shetish re alav ve'eno tarich levalos yamav bacharitzus vehishtadlus. And already there is a place for the blessing of heaven, shetishre alav, to bless him.
Right. Once the hishtadlus is necessary, and since that a person has put forth effort, he's fulfilling his obligation. Ukvar yesh makom lebracha shamayim, and therefore there is a opportunity for the blessings of heaven that they should dwell upon him.
That they should dwell upon him. Ve'eno tzarich levalos yamav bacharitzus vehishtadlus. And it's not necessary. What's levalos?
Levalos, like to waste his days.
To waste his days with charitzus is what is efforts.
Charitzus is like with competition and endeavors.
So he doesn't have to waste his days with competition and endeavors. I guess that is above and beyond the hishtadlus that he's already done.
Right. He has to fight basically. So in other words, what we're being taught here, you have to do a minimal of hishtadlus, meaning there must be some minimal hishtadlus being done. And basically what that means, as I've been taught by my rebbeim, what we want to do when we're doing hishtadlus is, since theoretically we're really able, the way Hashem really wanted it, that we're really able and should be able to sit and do nothing, and Hashem will provide for all our needs. But since we have to pay this tax of doing and making efforts, so therefore this tax, these efforts must be made, because Hashem does not want to do things in a miraculous manner for us anymore, because of the sin of Adam Harishon and the chet of Adam Harishon. He does not want to do these, make miracles for us. So we have to do a minimal hishtadlus that will disguise the influx of heavenly blessing and disguise it in the form of natural means, rather than having it being revealed in the form of miraculous means.
So there's a fine, subtle distinction between a person working for his panasa because he thinks he needs to work for his panasa. He thinks that the work that he does is going to be the cause, and the effect will be the panasa. which is false, versus doing hishtadlus, and then the pranasa comes.
Right.
And in the first case, the amount of work a person needs to do is governed by the laws of the natural world. He does work in accordance with the laws of the natural world, and he ends up getting a result in accordance with the laws of the natural world. In the case of hishtadlus, however, that's not the case. He needs to do hishtadlus in accordance with something. But what is that something?
What is that exact thing? Well, that's always the question which has to be asked, and each individual person has an individual answer for that. That as we said, that's the key, as we mentioned before at the beginning of the Mishal. The whole key is bitachon, right? The mafteach, the key to this is the bitachon, the trust in Hashem, right? The trust in Hashem that what's set aside for each and every person has been in fact set aside, and knowing that and believing that, one has to behave accordingly in terms of choosing the hishtadlus he wants and is proper for him to do in order to allow that allotment, which has been decided for him from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, to allow that allotment to come to him in a natural way, but in a way that he has to do the very minimal efforts to achieve that. That's one of the poisonous atmospheres that we live in our gullus. In our gullus, we're living in the poisonous atmosphere of the non-Jews. They don't have such trust in Hashem. They don't have such allotments from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. They have to work by the sweat of their brow accordingly, right? But unfortunately, we live in that atmosphere, that poisonous atmosphere of the non-Jews.
It seems to me that the only way to go about hishtadlus is to conform to the natural law and to know that it's an illusion, but nevertheless, I have to do it. That's what I did when I was working. I went to work and I worked hard, and I got my salary, and I told myself, this isn't because I worked, this is because I did hishtadlus. But the amount of work that I did was the same. So is that because I was lacking in Amunah, or lacking in bitachon? If I had more bitachon, I would have been able to do less.
There are two aspects to this. One is the emphasis has to be on the bitachon, because according to the bitachon, right, that's going the amount of bitachon is going to gauge the amount of hishtadlus a person's actually going to have to do. That's the famous question that Rav Yisrael Salanter put to the person. The person came to him and he said, "Well, look, I have faith that I'll buy my hishtadlus. I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. I'll buy a lottery ticket, and that's my hishtadlus. Isn't that if I win the lottery, no one's going to say it's a miracle that I won the lottery. Someone's got to win the lottery, right?"
Right.
So Rav Yisrael Salanter says, very good, true, very true. So as the person was leaving the room, he called him back. He said, "Tell me how much is this lottery? How much is this lottery?" Whatever he said 1,000 rubles, whatever it is, 1,000 million rubles, whatever it was. And how much is your ticket? He said, "Oh, five rubles," right? So he said, "Listen, I'll give you 999 rubles if you give me your ticket. I'll buy your ticket for 999 rubles. You want to sell it to me?" He said, "Sure, of course. I'd be foolish not to. Because you don't have bitachon. If you really believe that Hashem was going to give you that 1,000 rubles, you wouldn't give it to me for 1 ruble less." So the question is, how much real bitachon do we have? So that's a very difficult question. A person just doesn't fall into having faith in a Kadosh Baruch Hu. I mean, we all believe, we say believe, and we do in fact believe, but when it translates to believing into actual day-to-day living, right? So it's not so simple that we truly and absolutely believe. I mean, to an extent we do, to an extent we don't. So that's the crucial factor. And then based on the talking that a person has, that's going to gauge how much actual hishtadlus he actually has. True. If a person really has that level of faith in Hashem, it could be that just buying the lottery ticket once a month, once a year, whatever it might be, that could be in fact all he has to do, right?
So we got to this point through the process of the learning we were doing, which was basically, I will say, pressuring me to do less, to reduce my involvement in the physical world in order to enhance my Torah learning, in order to enhance my connection to Hashem. And so I asked the question, what about parnasa? What about getting married, having children? All these things that involve a person in the physical world and therefore interfere with this process of reducing one's involvement. And so we from that question, we got to this discussion of bitachon. So now what it seems like we've got two conflicting demands. One is demanding that I do less, and that's the learning we've been doing. And one is demanding I do more, and that's what we're learning now about bitachon. Of course, I don't know how much more it's demanding because I don't know how much bitachon I have. I don't know how to measure or gauge how how much hishtadlus I should be doing in conjunction with my bitachon. But nevertheless, I feel that one's pushing me one way and the other's pushing me the other way.
Yeah, well, exactly, that's part of the way to grow, the having these questions, having to deal with these issues. That's the way a person grows. It's if you remember several months ago, we learned the Shuva from Rav Moshe Feinstein Zechron Bracha out of the yeshiva Bach who wanted to leave the yeshiva and start engaging in preparations to go to medical school. You know, they basically told him it's a bunch of nonsense and it's wasting all your time, right? And, you know, so because why? Because there's no reason to do such a stylist, no reason to set out on a career that's going to involve so much intensive education, intensive training. There's no need to do that, right? It's far and beyond what a Kadosh Baruch Hu expects and wants of us, right? So that's the trick is to try and realize what will in fact allow HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give the person what he needs to sustain himself and continue as much as possible doing what he's supposed to do, which is learning Torah and fulfilling the mitzvahs.
Right.
Well, it's 10 o'clock. Okay, maybe. Okay, we're still in the middle of this last paragraph, so maybe we should regroup, collect your thoughts, and we'll continue on tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, Mitzvah Shem, thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you Roy, for the reading. Roy, have a good
Yes,
afternoon.
well done. Well done.
Thank you.
And we'll
Thank
pick
you.
up tomorrow, and we'll start with the Mishnah Berurah in a few moments. We'll begin with that again, Mitzvah Shem.
Okay, have a good day.
Very good.